for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming. I think we have a full board except Johnny Hernandez will be late.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion second to discussion. Hearing none. Submit to vote. Motion carries 7-6-0. Lost. There we go. Public comments. Do we have any? We do not. Okay. Communications, written items. We got everybody saw a little thank you letter from Donalyn Beeler.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. I get it right. So that was very nice. And, next thing on the agenda is OPA.
Yes, we have an administrative report here. Anastasia Morgan is our director, and she is doing a very good job here. And OPA likes to do a report. I know we did a director report. We're doing those quarterly, but they have something that they would like to do. We're going to sync up with that in the future. So they're it's starting a quarterly report. But tonight, Anastasia, you're on.
All right, thank you so much. So my name is Anastasia Morgan. Most people just call me Anna, except my dad, who still thinks I'm a princess, so we'll just let him keep thinking. And like you said, I am really lucky to be called the director of this great district. We're gonna start with our business review today. OPA is currently in 9 states, with Missouri leading the pack at 110, Kansas with 65, and Oklahoma 44. I know you guys find this very interesting. Your OPA support team for the Southeast Kansas District is going to be Rob Visson for the operations manager, Byron Wofford, the director of operations. Jack Cohen is going to be the business development, and Becky Glimka is our VP of operations. And speaking of lucky, I am really blessed to have the best team. They give 110% every single day and still have time to smile for the camera. So I'm really, really lucky. Our community, our OPA is really big in community involvement. And this year we've already done Grandparents' Day at the elementary school. We've also done Veterans Day at all 3 of our schools. We're working to utilize the activities on the OPA program planner. They try to do activities throughout the year. And also we are going to try to apply for a grant at the end of this school year, even though all of our kitchens really have really great equipment and we're lucky. Another thing we are really happy about, all of our new menu items. The kids, they'll come up to me and like, Miss Anna, oh my gosh, not just our kids, I would like to point out some of our principals come up and
Yes.
say, man, that's the best chili, oh my gosh. So that's really awesome. Just the new menu items alone. We do also have our growth plan we would like to go over real quickly if you have a few, I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but so our plan for the school year, at the beginning of the school year, was to increase breakfast, lunch, and a la carte participation. To increase our breakfast in the high school, or the middle school and the high school, The middle school, we plan to work with Matt to get the second chance breakfast changed at the middle school. It's just, they're so close together. It's kinda hard to get the times changed, but we're still working on that. Also, we did, for the high school, we were planning to utilize the breakfast cart, to get a little more participation at the high school, which we started that in January, and it is working like a charm, so pretty happy about that. Also, we plan to increase lunch participation by utilizing the OPA program planner and maximizing activities each month. Also like to increase community activities, working with coaches and athletic department to get the athletes fed. A lot of the time, athletes try and, I don't know if it's just making weight or what, they just wanna stick to certain foods or not eat at all, don't have time. So that's something that's really important to us as well. And then also increase participation in all 3 buildings by working with our staff to remind them how important it is to give remarkable service and keep a great attitude. Sometimes you're just so overwhelmed, you just want to get them fed so fast, you forget just a little smile makes all the difference sometimes. At the beginning of the year, we had set a goal for our breakfast program to have 35% participation. At the end of December, we did have 43% participation, serving a total of 16,450 meals. We do currently have second chance breakfast in all 3 schools. Had a great execution of the OPA breakfast week. We do need to make sure that we maximize our utilization of the program planners, and the elementary also has daycare breakfast that includes the toddlers. We did, like I said, we are utilizing the breakfast cart at the high school, and we're still working on getting with Matt to change the second chance breakfast for the middle school. And then at the beginning of the school year, we had a goal of 75% participation for lunch. We are currently sitting at 67.4%, so we still do have a little bit of work to do on that. Serving a total of 25,800 lunches this year so far, still pretty good. Current lunch programs, their National School Lunch Program. We've done a great job, my girls following the OPA menu, which has been really tough because some of those menus are like restaurant menus, I don't know, poor things. I feel so sorry now. But they're doing it with a smile on their face. We did have really great participation during the National School Lunch Week, brought out a lot of our new menu items, had some tasting tables, and the kids were pretty excited about that, all the little samples we gave out, that was fun, that was a good time. And our daycare also does include lunches that are also served to toddlers. We'd also like to keep the focus on getting staff to continue to eat, and we need to improve getting staff specials done in December and the balance of the year. Okay, so the next page. I did talk to Christy a little bit about this. I know you guys do have a summer feeding program. OPA does what's called a non-congregate summer feeding program. And that is a summer feeding program that provides free nutritional meals to children 18 and under during the summer. Meals can be picked up or delivered, making it easier for families in the rural and hard-to-reach areas to access healthy food. The benefits, it expands access to summer meals for students. It makes it easier for families to access meals despite transportation and time limitations. And there is no cost to the district, it is federally reimbursed. And it could provide 12,000 meals daily and up to $4,000 a month in federal reimbursement. So that's another option you could look at. So in summary, we are sitting right now as of December, 43% participation for breakfast, 67.4% participation for lunch. And we would like to thank you guys a lot for letting us into your district, and it has really been a pleasure. And the staff that you provide
last year to,
I don't have them for
Okay.
you here,
No.
but I could get them for you.
I just wondered like how much I've heard great things, I guess.
I think at the beginning of the year, I shared with you some increases like from the first month or two of
Yeah.
the school year. Haven't done anything since then
Okay.
because things have been going so well.
That's
So, but we could look at that.
You don't have to.
They have increased,
Yeah,
Our
I was just
participation.
curious how much.
yes.
And then the grants, I just wondered, so if you buy equipment, if you get grants, is there specific equipment you're wanting to buy, or?
I would have to get with my kitchen
Okay.
managers on that, they're the ones that apply for the grants.
And then that equipment, is it belong to the district or does it belong to?
It's
others?
us.
It belongs to the district.
Okay,
We equip the buildings.
Yep.
I just didn't know with the new stuff purchased with a grant.
No,
Yeah.
any grant money is for the district.
Thank
not for
you.
Alva.
We're hopeful for some grants, but we don't always qualify. As you understand with our status, our financial status, it's hard for us to qualify for grants, but
Yeah.
we will try. So,
The grants are through KSDE, through the Child Nutrition and Wellness Program.
Okay,
So it would be gathering data, specific to our school district and then submit it that way if we choose to do that.
okay.
So your summer program sounds interesting. Of course, the community does have a
Yeah, summer feeding
summer
program.
feeding program, and I don't know who, but it's a lot of volunteers doing that, so
Mhm.
I'm curious with this, does somebody pay salaries for somebody to do that, or?
Yeah, it's the kitchen staff,
Oh.
is it? Some of
similar
us
to,
are-
it's very similar to what we've done in years past. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've had a summer food service program
Right.
that coincides with the summer learning program and as well as the 21st century
Yeah.
summer program. It's offered just at the elementary school. It is free to kids, one breakfast and one lunch. But we do a congregate model, which means that we don't deliver. We have the kids come and have the meal there at the school. However, outside kids can come and participate. So they would come and have lunch or breakfast, but they're at the elementary school before the program starts. And there's some parameters that we put on that as far as time goes. And then we submit for reimbursement for that for the state.
Hmm.
So,
interesting. Thank you.
Thanks,
And
Matt.
if you would like to head on out, you gotta drive, so you're more than welcome to stay, or you can head on out.
Thanks, Anna.
Darla, you're up.
All right, Kristen, would you mind opening my report up? I do want to talk a little bit about, if you haven't read my report or had a chance to, a big thing, well, first of all, very excited to have people across in our buildings, working for Mrs. Bentley right now, who is having a good recovery so far, so that's been positive. But a big thing in my role right now is that our 21st Century Grant is up for request for proposal to try to get granted for the next 5 years. So that's a pretty intense process, even though we're paying somebody to like write the grant, it still requires a lot on my end to get that up and going. So I'm working on that with Lucas, I think Shippers is his last name, through Greenbush. So a couple of things that we're looking to propose as changes to our program. We have some surveys out that they put together for us. But we've talked about, number one, I mean, him and the lady that's kind of in charge of grants at Greenbush have all, and our evaluators have all been very upfront, like saying, we need to have a plan in case we don't get granted, because we've already had like at least 3 cycles. And so like one of the points of 21st Century Funding is for you to be developing a sustainability plan as you have that program. So I just want to put that out there, like I think as a board, you know, like you need to be thinking like, what if, because even, let's just say we don't get re-granted, and we decide that we still need that service, I mean, we could increase fees, but like that's still probably not gonna be enough to pay the people, and if you're not gonna pay the people, we're not gonna have a program, right? So I'm just, you know, saying that. But a couple of changes that we talked about, including in our proposal this year, that's a little bit different than how our program has been going, is number one, like we are pretty much an open enrollment program right now, which means On any given day, any number of kids can show up to our program. And like, not so much this year, but like last year, we were nearing 100 kids a day, which is really hard to plan for. And also, when you are limited to 6 staff, that's a lot of kids in a group. So there's several programs that just like set a fixed number of slots for their program. So I've been in a communication with a program, that doesn't work for her program anymore, because she actually works for the state agency. But like, you know, she just shared like at their school, they did like 12 slots per grade level. And then like, then there was a wait list, and they would determine, you know, she kind of shared their process. The benefit to that, well, number one of the reasons I think that we should move our grant forward this way is, I'm really struggling this year more than any year that I've worked here to get people to teach in my program. We are working under our staff, like we have to say what our staff ratio is in our grant. I'm pretty much under ratio every day in my program. So because if you don't know if you're teaching 22 kids or 12 kids in your section, it's really hard. It's also just a lot to manage in the after school hours. So I personally think as a director, the last how many other years, like I think that's a direction that we should go. Just because I think if, like in the summer, we basically say like enrollment's open and then it's shut, and we don't take anybody after we do that. We know every day we're gonna have, let's say it's 40 kids. The teachers can plan for those kids. We know what we're having, and it just, you know, like everybody that works summer is like, it's so much better because we know exactly the maximum number of kids we're gonna have. I think that would improve our school time program for our staffing. So I guess I would just like to know if that would be a change that you could support as we try to move this grant forward. Number 2, I think our data would really support this. I haven't had a chance to pull that, but I would really strongly recommend our program going to a 4-day-a-week program. That's very common in a lot of schools. We run our program actually more than most places. A lot of places don't start their program until like well into September, and they close it at the end of April. We start our program on day 1 of school, and we end our program on the last day that we're in session. But as I said, staffing is a problem. And right now, so I'm supposed to run 3 teachers every day and 3 pairs every day on Fridays. For the last 2 years, it's been myself teaching and Kathy Freeman teaching. So 2, and then like this year I have 2 pairs that work Friday. Nobody wants to work on Fridays, and our attendance is lower on Fridays because a lot of kids just go home. So I feel like there is less of a need. I'm not saying there aren't some kids there on Fridays that probably still do need that place to go, but when I consulted with Lucas about this, I just think if you want to have, if we want to continue to say like we're having a quality program, we really have to look at what's happening in our program. And it's really hard to say you have a quality program when you only have 2 people willing to teach on that day, in my opinion. So I also would recommend that our program only move forward 4 days a week in our request. And then just another change is that federal mandate is that no fees can be collected for programs next year, so like it's free. The only funding source we will have is the grant. We have been a fees-based program forever, I mean as long as I've been here, and I'm sure ahead of that, which has given us some discretionary money for like field trips or like for our cooking, because you can't, you're like really limited on like using money on food. And so I mean, I've got to really start trying to find some people to give us some in-kind support or some letters of support with some monetary backing so that we'll have some more discretionary money, because without any fees, our budget is going to be very tight on that. So if you have suggestions of people for me to reach out to, I mean, we've had several letters of sponsorship the last many grants, but just that will be something that we're looking for, so.
Would you start this next year then, so, or?
If we get granted, we had a Zoom call. They had actual in-person meetings that you get a superintendent interview, so I didn't get to go to one of those, but they had a Zoom last week. The state just going over like all the requirements for request for proposal. We will not find out until like June 10th if we get granted. So our grants are due, like, I wanna say, there isn't that back here, May 24th, and then we won't know until June if we would get awarded, so.
Sounds to me like you got a plan. I can certainly support what you want to do, but what everybody else thinks.
far as I'm concerned, with what you have listed here, you're the director for this, so if you think this is what we need to do, yeah.
Well, yeah, but if we don't get the grant, we have to,
And then if
No,
we
we
don't
need
get the
to-
grant, so if we don't get the grant,
money for
then,
that. We
like,
have to fund that.
yeah, I mean, we would have to decide if there's gonna be some supplemental funding, but, I mean, like, let's just say hypothetically, we charge $5 a day per kid. I mean, we've always had a per family charge, but let's just say we did $5 a kid. Right now, we're averaging about 60 kids a day. You're bringing in $300 a day, times 5 days, which we don't get 60 kids all the days. Okay, so it's $1,500 a week. I mean, we're paying our staff and we're low on our pay. That's one of the things we'll be working to increase in our request for proposal. I think it's $22 an hour. So again, 3 staff and our pairs get $12 an hour, plus I get a director's. I mean, we're not gonna make enough off fees to pay for all that, so, plus whatever we would need in supplies, so on and so forth. So there would have to be, if we don't get a grant, there's gonna have to be a financial commitment from the district, or we're just gonna have to say, we don't have an after-school program in the future. Again, we're not gonna know that till June, so I don't know how that impacts budgeting for next year, but it is something to be thinking about.
So ballpark figure, if we have to fund it.
Kristen, you know what my grant was worth this year? Like, the way they do the grants, like, every year, so like this year, if we would get granted, like, we might get in the first year 120,000, and then they start tearing it down. So this year, I wanna say we're down to like 80-something
No,
maybe?
not even.
No,
I
it's
think
under,
we're like six, I think you're at
I mean,
67,000.
so like
don't
this year.
quote us on an
basically-
exact number,
Yeah,
because this
I mean,
is,
I would have to get out my book, but like this year, our funding is basically.
But we need
covers-
about 80,000.
This year, our funding only covers staffing, like, there's nothing
Yeah.
else
No,
that pays for.
Yeah,
We need to go higher.
Yeah,
than what they have.
90 to,
I wouldn't go less than 80, and the reason I say that is, I mean, again, there are, well, the thing with, if we're self-funded and we're not bound by some of the federal guidelines, that will help. It will help and it won't help.
right.
It will help in terms of, like, there's stipulations that we have to spend those monies on now, like, we have to pay for an evaluator to come in, and that's a pretty significant
It's
fee
like
that we have to pay.
$4,000.
Yeah, and we have to pay for some other things, we pay for.
We have to go to national conference every year, 2 people, that's a big expense. We wouldn't have to do that if we're not grant
I
funded.
mean, you're talking 10% of your budget right there.
I mean,
between
you're
those
right.
two items.
Yeah.
Plus to keep track of, like, there's another program that we utilize to, track student attendance and things like that. But,
Which we won't need that anymore because we won't have fees. Like, the reason we got that is because the accounting side was way too time intensive the way it had been set up before. So even, like, we won't even put that in our budget this year because, well, I've already actually talked to Craig about using Skyward, or you can make a Google sheet, like, because I have to report, like, if the reports that I have to do for federal reporting, I have to turn in for every kid that ever attends our program to the nearest quarter hour, how long they're in our program. I mean, there is a lot of data on, like, as part of these funds, that's fine, but, I mean, there's a lot more to it than just like doing some after-school care. When you're receiving federal dollars, it's significant reporting.
So-
that would also help with all of these things that Darla's suggesting too, with like minimizing, because the bulk of what you're paying out is gonna be, after those things, it's gonna be your salaries.
So that's what I was gonna ask, we just threw out 80,000, obviously that's not a solid number, but are we talking 80,000 to keep things the way they are, or 80,000 after reducing to 12 per grade and 4 days a week?
Well, you're still probably gonna need 3 teachers and 3 paras
Okay.
for. I
But
mean,
that's fine, I
If
just,
you had 12 kids in 5 grade levels, the other thing that we're actually doing a survey on right now is to considering, and I didn't get this on here because I found this out after I attended the online Zoom, but like for us to apply as a program that's trying to re-grant, we have to have 2 new components in our program. If you don't have 2 new components, your application's out. So, listening to some of the ideas they're out, like we're considering proposing to allow 5th grade to travel down and join our program, so that would add another grade level. So, I mean, you're not gonna staff it with less people. I mean,
And even though like we wouldn't have to pay for the conferences and whatever, but then those discretionary funds of field trips
Mhm.
and food for the cooking class and like all those things, I don't.
But you're also gonna have to do something to incentivize staff to help with
try to hire a high school kid. I mean, that's not written into the grant, like, you're not supposed to, like, we have to list like what we think the qualifications of our worker is. And that's just another thing, like food for thought. Like, so in the past, like, it's pretty much been written that the principal will be the director, and so you have to have a master's degree in education. And Chris was very specific this time in saying, I mean, I'm not saying I'm leaving, but, you know, they're like, if that's not what it's really gonna be forever, don't put it in there. List qualifications so that you have the flexibility to, like, I think as the money's getting tighter at the federal level, like, they're really cranking down on making sure you're complying with whatever is listed in your paperwork, so. So I'll be working with the grant writer on that, but, staffing is really becoming a challenge.
Thanks for that information. I think we certainly just need to keep an eye on it for budget time when it comes.
Yeah, I'm definitely in line with these for predictability. I mean, I've got a son that doesn't go full-time to it, and he's part of the influx, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
because some days high, some days
Right.
low and stuff, and he does participate on Fridays, and lopping that day off would have no effect on
Yeah.
us, so like, okay, that's fine, we do it.
And I think, like,
He likes
you know, like,
Fridays, so it's
knowing,
great.
like, since I do so much work with attendance data, like, I mean, I could pretty much go down the list and say, like, I mean, do I think there are some kids that need the Friday service? Yes. Do I think it's the majority of those kids on Fridays? I do not.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anybody else, anybody else have anything, Carl?
Can you, hire student teachers to be
I
a
can hire
teacher?
student teachers, I have hired student teachers before. Like last year, we actually had Yvonne Carter, like, get her ESEP license so that she could teach.
Okay,
Because to be a teacher position, you're supposed to be certified.
okay.
So, I mean, we've tried to do as many workarounds as we
Yeah.
can.
I just wondered.
I have a couple of teachers from the middle school, I usually get one, or one for part of the year that will come work. Natalie Spangenberg used to work for us, but she doesn't anymore. So,
Okay.
Donna, thanks for giving us that
That's a great
information.
report, Dennis.
Thanks for giving it to us early enough.
Well, I'm an advocate, so always
I
been an
definitely think
advocate for the after
it's a
school
program that we
program
need,
that we
whether we're
need,
grant funded or
so,
not. I
yeah,
just,
we need it.
I really feel like I'm getting strongly advised by all the people that you work with. I mean, I think they just really want us to prepare that, I mean, we've really had this grant our share probably. And there's also, I'm sorry, I'm taking a long time to talk about this, but there's also like priority points for the applications. So like if you're in a certain area of Kansas, you get some priority points on your application, and if you are looking for a high school program, that gets some priority points. You don't qualify for any of the priorities. So again, that means there's already gonna be applications that are gonna probably rise above ours because we aren't meeting any of those priority points. So, I mean, I think it's realistic for us to be percolating back here, like, we may need to be coming up with a plan.
Okay, thank you.
And I will second, just really quick also, I was helping with art Friday, and Cooper was great, like with the kids, and just the interactions I saw were fantastic, so.
Great, okay, Darla, thank you. Middle school. Matt.
Man, he's not here basketball tonight, they're middle school basketball.
Anybody have any question about Matt's report?
I might be here, if not, you can just
Okay.
let me know and I'll get those questions to him and answers back.
Nothing, get your question to Craig and get Matt will answer them, and next, Mr. Ball.
I learned a couple months ago I need to start being more quiet at these things.
Well, the first two already have.
Yeah.
I don't, the only thing I'm gonna say is, January is obviously a very busy month at the high school, multitude of different things going on, so just a little thing in my report was just thanking all the people that helped with all of the different things that were going on, whether it be people in our building, community members, we wouldn't be able to sustain and produce the type of level of hospitality that we have with all the different events that went on in January, so just a lot for Arian and I learned for next year as well, but just really thankful for all the people that showed out to help in a multitude of different ways, so. That's all I got, unless you guys have any questions for me.
I don't have a question, but I wanna give you guys kudos. I see you and Arian all the time at the basketball games, and to me, it comes across, it's a thankless job. All the stuff that you're dealing with, you've got all of our students you're trying to keep, excited, but within reason. I know how that is. You have another school who may or may not, enjoy being in our building. You've got middle schoolers running around, you've got parents, whatever. I mean, just the other day we were there and I pointed out to Arian, hey, one of the urinals isn't flushing appropriately. And she immediately ran off to go take care of it. It just seemed like it's nonstop. I just want to say thank you to you guys when you're dealing with that sort of stuff.
Thank you.
I know you guys do it all day long, but doing it after normal working hours is just a step above in my head, so thank you.
Thank you. And we do have some rowdy, kids in the front row that I have to
Yeah, I understand.
knock the name.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I sometimes hear about those conversations after the game.
Like, I don't maybe you're.
It's not mine, it's just.
Maybe.
Is that on camera?
Okay. Anybody have anything else for me? Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Lindsay.
Just got a big thing coming up next week. Joe and I are going to the state leadership conference. It's the Special Ed Association of Administrators Conference, Winter Conference. I'm actually presenting at it this year, so that's pretty exciting for me. Yeah, so been working on that presentation pretty hardcore, but, so that's coming up actually the 24th, but, Joe and I will go to that and hopefully learn lots of stuff to bring back. Other than that,
What's your presentation on?
alternatives to alternative education.
Sounds
It's like Inception.
It's called Build It, If You Build It, They Will Come. There's a baseball thing.
You just come up with that.
I like
Just come up with that on your own.
I did.
So, questions, I know you kind of read it, but, people come in and out, so how are we doing on staffing?
Staffing, pretty decent, actually. Elementary, we've gotten some good hires. We've got a hire at the high school, and then we had one come back, moved on to the state. That we were able to plug right back in, and so his turnaround time, he came in last Friday, and I think he's starting this week, so that turnaround time was quick. Outer districts are doing pretty good too, so we're sitting pretty good.
Where's your conference at?
Yeah.
Where's the conference at?
Wichita.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Coolman. How are you, Craig?
I'm fine.
Any question for Craig? Well, that was easy. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
I guess I will say, we were not alone with phishing and scamming hacks. The state of Kansas even sent out to all the school districts that lots of school districts were having it happen in the past week, especially over a 36-hour period. And we've taken steps to do better and that. I will send information out to you if you would like to set up MFA on your school email account, how you can do that if you wish to.
When I was a victim,
Yeah.
she clicked a link, came from a staff member, she thought, oh yeah, clicked it. Not
Okay,
good.
thank you. Greg Marshall.
Kind of tying in with that, Craig's information there, so Dr. Watson and I still keep in touch and text and call back and forth. Anyway, 6 in the morning one day, a week ago, I get an email from him saying, I think you might be hacked from one of your students. One of our students sent Dr. Watson an email, wanting to open up a file. And I said, sorry, Dr. Watson. Long story short, it's happening all over. It's kind of sad. So, my report, just a lot of different legislative information, goals from KASB as well as from KSDE, and just be in tune with legislative type comings and goings, things that are happening, so on and so forth. Again, a lot of different things, some different, just a reminder about some different bills that have been, kind of discussed and kicked around the cell phone bill in terms of what's gonna happen in school districts. Talking about starting school after Labor Day and ending before Memorial Day. That's happening as well, for some discussions, requiring children to be toilet trained to enroll in kindergarten, to attend kindergarten. Another bill that's popped out is requiring 30 minutes of recess, daily recess for Kansas or schools in Kansas school districts K through 5. So again, there's a lot of different things that are happening, and some of them are good and some of them are infringing, in my opinion, on local control and what we should be doing. So like, for example, in Burlington Middle School, we have kids that have PE every day. There are some districts that don't have kids that have PE every day. So is 30 minutes a day for recess for one district the same as for others? Maybe yes, maybe no, it just depends on the situation. So anyway, there's a lot of different bills floating around, and we'll see what happens. Information from what I understand and from what we're gathering from different people, different colleagues, they would like to shut down the session on time this year because they've got some campaigning to do. All representatives are up for election, as well as there's a governor race. So there's some people in the legislature that are running for governor. So having said that, they want to get home so they can start campaigning so they can get reelected. So we'll see what happens. But again, I'm continuing to stay in touch with Brad Barrett, our local representative, as well as Karen Tyson, our state senator that represents Burlington. So again, I try to be nice and say, hey, this is how this would affect Burlington. I don't tell them to vote yes or vote no, but I tell them how it can affect and impact Burlington so that at least they hear from me. And then there's a whole list of dates coming up, some hot dates, some things to remember from February, March, April, and May, and that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to board reports. I think we have a draft survey, and then we have Nolan, what was it, Nolan did? That was his survey?
Yes.
So we have two different surveys
Right.
that they give you.
So kind of just so you understand what we did, Darla, Fred Kuhlman, and I looked over some information. McAllen Gordon had some really good survey questions. So you'll notice that there is a draft, and that draft is the one I'm going to say we're going to work off of. It's the one that you look up at the top. It says USD 244, the Facilities and Priorities Survey. So that's the one we're going to work off of. And if there's questions from the draft that I think Nolan had spent some time and maybe even connected with Selena and James on as well, just outside and kind of worked on. If there's some questions from that document that you want added into there, just let us know. Again, that we added like question 4 doesn't have the boxes. We'll doctor that so that it's a check mark box for it on a Microsoft form. We can send out the link to people. So don't worry so much about the format where you see some dots on some questions. We'll make it a check mark inactive type box there. So I hope I'm making sense there. Take the draft. That's what we're working off of. And if there's anything you want to add from the questions that were discussed, that Nolan gave me as a document, let me know. So just give me the numbers, if you will, the questions that you may want to add.
So this is just homework to take home and get back to you on?
Yeah, I'd like to do it now if you want to get it out sooner than later. If you want to email, there's 2 different ways you can do it. If you want to give me the numbers now, that's fine. If you want to do it by the end of the week, Friday, that's fine. I want to be careful with the survey that you don't get too lengthy, or people will say, eh.
I like 3 on Nolan's,
Okay.
I don't know,
I think it's on the other one too. It's number 11 on the other one.
11?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It's not one.
And
That's what I was like trying to figure out which things are different.
It's okay. That's probably, yeah. We looked through it carefully too.
So,
I'll let Craig
for
know.
example, number 4 and number 2, 4 on Nolan's is 2 on the other one.
Correct.
So, yeah, I just need a second to go through and,
Mhm.
Is it appropriate to have the
it's not, because it will not be 45
So,
million unless you take the project down quite a bit.
Yeah.
So for example, take the 5th grade out, take the Belk out, take 4 sections to 3. See, that's the only way we're getting back to 45 million number from what they told us. You're talking about 1% a quarter, so about a 4% increase a year.
Yeah, I would almost recommend removing the dollar amounts on there, or summarizing it somewhere else, so it's on question 5, just knowing that that's not the number right now.
Right.
That's,
And that implies that it's the same thing someone saw 6 months ago, whatever it was.
yeah.
They're gonna correlate that 45 with everything else they already saw.
Yeah, modified, put 2025,
Right.
value, something like that. It distinguishes that that's not a number, it's
Yeah,
not a
shooting
number
for this,
for
yeah,
just a
so-
number.
Okay.
For point of reference.
Question 5, so remove all the amounts, is that what I'm hearing from the board?
Either remove that or make it 2025.
2025, okay. Or-
Something I mentioned with Greg on number 7, and just because it's a survey, and people are gonna be, want to fill out a survey, but they're not gonna know, unless they have the paper in front of them, what that number is. 15-year bond, 20-year bond, 25-year bond, so almost in parentheses outside of what it's gonna be.
And which question is that again? Is
Number
it 7, question 7?
Just so they don't have to go reference another document unless you attach another document
Yes.
to this.
Well, yeah, and I don't know how they use that number if we don't have a dollar amount.
I know, that's
Is
what
that
I'm
what you're saying?
Yes, that's.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry.
we could put the tax implication document on 34 million and 45 million, attach it to the survey, but I think it's gonna be easier if we put it right out there.
Yeah.
You want surveys to be easy, you don't want people to spend 30 minutes, because if they do, if they see they're gonna have to spend 30 minutes,
Well, they just
try,
won't answer
they
the
won't
question,
do it.
they'll just move on, so.
Well,
Can you just build it into the question?
I can do,
Yeah.
we'll be able to build it into the response. Does that make sense?
What's the response mean?
I'm sorry, what now?
Like, could you just build it into the question, and like, after 15-year bond, you put the information in, what's the word?
Implications.
Implication right there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm at.
Okay, I see what you're saying now, I got
So
you.
it's right there next to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking at this, based on what I can tell, the questions on Nolan's that are not on the other one are questions 8 and beyond.
Well, and part of it, you as a board talked to us in the last time when we met last Monday in terms of, we don't want to try to push a new building in terms of having that discussion right now. What we want to do is get the information out on a renovation, because that's what the people seem to want. So with that being said, if we put questions involving, too many questions involving a new building, it might be confusing to people, and they may say, well, what is it? I think the survey you're wanting is to find out what's the people, I mean, the people's interest really truly in that, in the renovation piece. So,
I agree with that. I was just trying to say that if you're looking at the first 7 questions on Nolan, they're on here.
yes,
It's just, they're in a weird order, so it's hard to see it. So if you're gonna look at this and try to say, hey, do any of these need to be on here, it should really be questions 8 through 16 that we look at.
okay.
How are we gonna propose this survey gets, what's the population of the survey? Is it the people that attend the meetings, or? is it-
Everyone. We're gonna get it out there in the public. We will, social media, hit it, Facebook, the website, through Skyward. What else, Craig, am I missing?
And we do it through
Parents
Parents
Square.
Square.
We'll do it through Parents
I
Square.
say Skyward,
We'll,
Parent Square.
I don't know how quick of a turnaround you want. You could do it into the newspaper.
We could.
I don't know whether the county would put something through their information system or not. We could ask them, yeah, the old Everbridge, their main, I mean, we could ask them.
Print them out, put them on the table at the donut shop.
Are we assuming that they have,
Honestly, yeah.
are we assuming that they have the information?
Yeah, there you go. The QR code flyer, stickers.
Yes.
Somebody can hack those pretty easy.
No, yes,
Are we assuming that they understand what the renewal information is
Well, that's what the
prior
meeting,
to doing this.
well, that's what the meetings are now. This,
Well, we had
I know.
one
Well, I
participation,
mean-
and we're gonna want 100 responses with not that many people actually being
We will,
formally introduced to that.
we'll probably try to, in the past, when we were trying to pass the bond issue, we created a connection back to, for more information, look at the website for additional information on the project. We put the flyer on there and any other additional in just information. So we'll try to, we can look at doing something like that.
hopefully we get one too at the next meeting.
Well, we got an article in the paper recently, also.
About the
There
meters.
was, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I
So
just,
some
these,
information has just been,
sorry.
I was just saying, I think there was a newspaper article about it also.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think this goes along with the same thing what we're trying to do, we're trying to listen to what the public wants. And this is the second step of listening to what the public wants, so they're gonna,
Yeah, I think these amounts, so, I don't know, I just don't like having this 34 million and 45 million, because the 34 million we just got, right?
right,
The 45 million, that's not gonna be 45 million.
Well, it
So I
can't be.
just feel like having these,
That's what no one was saying,
Yeah.
take us on. No one said
So-
that.
yeah,
So, let me
right,
emphasize.
yeah, but I'm just, it didn't sound like everybody agreed.
I agree.
Let me emphasize that any number, it can be any number. So, for example, whatever you pass in your community, then you figure out what you're gonna do with that money. So the number, then you adjust the project. So let's say the elementary, we think it's gonna cost 34 million to renovate that building and make it look essentially brand new, like the library that's been renovated, like the first grade wing. Let's say the community gives us feedback that they're only willing to pass 25 million. If we can get 25 million bond issue, then we gotta go in and pare that project down.
So maybe that's a question we ask, can we get rid of these amounts? Because just like we were told at the first meeting, when we came out with this 34 million, that wasn't the same number they heard last year. And so where did we come up with this? Did we inflate this so that people are more in favor of the 45?
The-
That, you know, because a lot of these people that are gonna do this, haven't come to
well, we could
a
say,
meeting to get the information. So that's what I'm just saying, like,
could we say something like 2025 estimates are this amount?
Because the last
Yeah.
remodel amount was based on a light look-through. This 34 is based on a deep look-through.
right, but
That's-
yeah, the people here,
We-
you know, the reno,
Yeah, they're gonna hear
so-
what they wanna hear, and they're not gonna hear, they're gonna hear zero, because a lot of them don't come out.
We made it very we made it very
They
clear at the
feel like that.
meetings last year that 25 million was just a rough estimate, because our direction was going towards a new building. That was all the feedback we were getting. It didn't make sense to do a renovation. So if you remember, about 13, 14 months ago, before you guys passed the resolution last February to go to a bond issue, remember we had construction company Napolz come in, a couple of people, and they explained to us, you're looking at about 25 million, this is our best guess, without doing a deep dive.
Right,
It was
but
25
people just
million, it
remember
was a
the
rough,
number.
or
So I
very
like
rough estimate.
that of doing, maybe if y'all wanna keep the numbers in, saying renovation of current elementary facility, you know, 2026
2025
estimate 34 million, and then
Like-
like, you know, so it's,
Would it be easier to stomach if we put a range? If we put in there renovation 30 to 35, new 45 to 50?
No,
Okay.
don't tell you.
Just asking the question.
Okay. Well, we can put in 2026 estimates. If you want to.
yeah, I think,
45 million isn't in 2026.
Yeah.
It's not,
No,
we'll
it's just
change
20,
that,
that's
we'll change that,
Yeah, there you go.
yes, we'll change
just
that.
so people know, like, this is a new number we've got, and then this is a old number.
Right, say, here's the
Yeah.
number that we have right now, and, you know, we'll look at, if we decide which way we're gonna go, we're gonna look at it again and see.
I think,
Yeah, if we're wanting to keep the survey focused on the renovation, which is what we discussed, then I think this works, because I think the one that we have here is enough similar to what Nolan had. A lot of the questions are the same thing. There's really only a few questions in here and they get. So, like, for example, question 10, it gets down into the weeds of like, well, which parts of this do you think are good and which aren't? And if I'm being 100% honest with you, I want that opinion from the people that are in the building, that are dealing with it every day. I want Darla to tell me, I want the teachers to tell me. And it's no offense to all the civilians out there, but they don't know which of these things is the most important to the people that are in that building every day. So, they've got to understand that the people using the building need to make those final decisions. If it comes out that we can only we can get them to approve 25, then I want Darla and whatever group she comes up with to be the one that tells us, okay, we can live without this, we can live without this, this has to happen, kind of thing. So I don't like necessarily having a question like that in there.
But you also have to go, if they're only gonna give 25 and that's not an acceptable remodel based on our input from our facilities, saying, we can't do enough good with 25 million to make this project worthwhile, then we don't move it to the next phase.
But I think that's when you come back, if they say, we'll give you 25, well, we're gonna have to cut this, we're gonna cut this, we're gonna cut this.
But aren't you getting a vote of approval for the 25? Are we, at that point, we've already gotten approval, or we're just saying public opinion? We don't have enough opinion support.
Yeah, we could easily come out after the fact and say, the general standing from what we got from the public was you guys would only support 25 million. We don't believe that's gonna fulfill the needs for the next 30 years. We don't think it's financially viable, and we're not gonna present this option going forward. I mean,
I think you're gonna get information from the survey and hopefully from the next 3 community meetings that will help us guide, some direction coming up in March and April. That's the hope. And that information could lead possibly to maybe a shorter second survey, where you're talking about is it this or that? It could lead to that, so.
I don't want to, but I just remember when we had our community discussions last time, we got down to where we had people who were like, well, I don't think that's important because my kid never needed that. And that wasn't a thing when I was in school, so it's not important now. And like I said, they don't understand the needs and how things have changed. Maybe we do have to get into some of that later, but as a first.
But I think that's a little bit what Nolan was talking about, so they can come and say, we don't need this, and our job is to explain why that's.
I agree, but not through the survey.
No.
Right.
But again, this is I still say this is the second part of the listening tour. I wanna get feedback, really, because we're not pushing anything at them right now, we're just saying, hey, give me what you want.
Well,
And what's the best, when do we think we're gonna do this survey?
ASAP.
Okay.
We're gonna get it as soon as possible.
we did only have 2 people come to the last meeting. If anybody is watching, please come to the next meeting. But we got some feedback that, some of it put me on my heels, things that I didn't expect to hear. So, I wanna hear that.
Another idea that just made me think of it, like when you said put the flyers with QR codes, but like, I guess we don't have, if we do it before in the next 2 weeks, I guess, but like, up at the high school, out in the commons, like, they've got those little table things where you put the little, Yeah. well, I was thinking those little plastic thingies, but yeah, we could just make tents or whatever, but yeah, just where they're available.
There's a possibility. I know when we had it last time, I took the boards to the high school, and I was there for the 3 nights of the play, when you had 100 people in line with nothing better to do, and I could not get anybody to even come talk to me. Now, maybe that's just because it was me.
Well, if there's,
But-
no, I'm talking, not anybody, a person. If we have those little table tent things with the QR code that says take the survey, so then they can just,
It can just be a little sticker on it, or.
Okay.
yeah, with their phone, just another way to get the survey out there. Yeah, no,
Okay.
people don't wanna talk to people. People wanna just
Specific.
keyboard warrior it away, so.
We'll see what we can
worry
do.
about trying to get it out to more places than like the social media. I think no matter what, like there's an audience that isn't maybe gonna be social, I mean, I'm gonna say my mom, for example, you could do all of these things, it's never going to reach her, okay? I mean, that's just the kind of person she is, so I think you've gotta realize that, you know, some audiences are more difficult to get. I mean, I did the newspaper article, like Craig even said, like, we could put it in there and maybe hope to capture some of that, but
Well, it makes me wonder if we couldn't take a stack of these to the senior
or
center.
maybe we
And like I
just put
said,
out
to
like,
the donut
if
shop.
they get it come to your paper copy, like, you know, like in the newspaper, like, some people are not technology literate, like,
Yeah,
have
leave
some paper
stacks of
copies
paper.
available to pick up and fill out the central
I'll
office.
say like the donut shop's going to be closed for the next,
Yeah,
Or
we're
weeks.
gone for, yes.
but
Yeah.
on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a lot of those people are gonna move to Vintage, cause
Well,
I saw them.
I will tell you after,
We would.
and I've done it every year, but it's just a reminder, at Rotary, we did God's Storehouse food thing at Hoover's. There's a lot of people go through Hoover's, I mean, somehow
That's
we
what I
need to
was
be able to get that
wondering, too.
information out there, oh my goodness.
Yeah, like, I was wondering that, like,
They have a board there.
I don't know, there's a couple ideas,
We'll-
but
we'll
Nikki
work
and, Devin are, I mean, there's big supporters of
Yeah, they're,
the school, so I think
yeah,
they're,
they're big.
they would be, yeah.
Yeah, I would think having, you know, cards or QRs or
Something like
whatever at Bongars and Hoovers, and that's where.
Yeah, a lot of businesses, you know, the rec center has one, you walk in there, Baumgart's has one, you walk in there, and Cruisers has one, you walk in there.
Yeah.
You just, if we have a one-page card that we can pin up, somebody might, you might catch it the first one too.
I think we'll work on trying to get it out to as many people as possible. We will. When we did the survey back, for the bond issue, we had close to 400 responses, if I'm not mistaken, so we got a fair amount of information. So we'll try to get it out there to many people.
And I can help go put those things around if you need, around town or whatever, that way it's not on you, so.
Well, some of them, if you drop them off in places and it's paper copy, especially for, like the less technology-driven demographics, we may have to go pick them up afterwards.
Well, yeah, we could need a Dropbox
Yeah.
also.
Nolan, thanks for your work on that, so yes,
Yeah.
and going on those, and so, we know, anybody have any,
How dead set are we on the way this is laid out? Cause I just went through and kind of gave some
you've been here a
recommendations.
little late.
I was listening, I heard it, and I know we went through, but anyways, I just have a rough
Well, you
recommendation.
give
for
those to
somebody.
Craig,
Okay.
so that's what Craig will take your, information.
Yeah, I just kind of looked at it and
Yeah,
looked at maybe it'd be a little bit better laid out, a recommendation.
Yeah. give those to Craig.
And I strongly make sure that there's information about the renovation, having the flyer, having summary, having something. All
Okay.
illustrated itinerary.
Sure.
Thank you. Thanks for everybody's input on that. So, moving on to results monitoring reports.
Well, can we go back to the board?
Oh, sure.
Just a little bit. So we all
Oh, yes.
know we had the insulation stuff come up for the boilers, and then we had a couple boilers at the middle school that we had to replace emergently. I was wanting to discuss, so I think a year or so, we talked about getting an assistant, another person in
Kind of
maintenance.
had somebody, yeah.
Do we need to revisit that to essentially not have all our eggs in one basket with knowledge and skills with Margaritas? It's incredible. You probably know things about these buildings in the district that I don't think anybody knows. So do we need to get someone with him to kind of observe?
It's incredible what I should call you from now on.
How about that?
Anyway.
Can we get James' assistant?
Yeah. I mean, Margaritas, he's great and awesome, and I can't thank him enough for what he does, but we're gonna eventually, I'm not gonna be on this board anymore, I'm not gonna work with Rick anymore, so we need to have knowledge transfer for Margarito, so we need to get him an assistant, and whatever else.
So we've been visiting about it a little bit, so there's a lot of things that Margarita does on the backside that, that he just does, and that nobody knows. And, so some of that, we just found out, number one was the pipe insulation, we just found out that he was babying that every year. And so that's why we end up doing the pipe insulation. But, we tried, I think, last year, as Luke was talking about, we tried to have him kind of an assistant. And then that guy started and then left and went somewhere. And Margarito does a fantastic job, and I don't think that we are suggesting that anybody takes his job. What we need is, we need him to share his corporate knowledge with someone else that maybe, you know, takes over in the future, or at least if Margarito is laid up sick or in a car wreck or whatever, that can carry the water. I'm just concerned, this is a large, complex with everything that we have, and some aging equipment, et cetera. And, I think we're gonna get stung if we, and I know that Margarito, you know, I don't know how much he wants somebody, but I think he needs somebody.
I don't think it's up to him.
I know, but I'm just.
If you leave it up to him, you're leaving us out.
No, I understand that, so I'm just, I was trying.
I guarantee you, there's not a single one of us at work that doesn't have somebody else that knows what we do. That way if
There
something
needs to be
happens-
somewhat of a succession plan with there, that's a big enough job that we need to do that. So I think Craig needs to have a discussion with Margarito and move that forward.
We'll look, if that's the direction you're giving me, we'll look to advertise for an assistant director, like we hadn't had an assistant director for a while. We lost that person, Margarito, and I talked, he said, I don't really want to have, I'm gonna wait for a little bit. Well, it's now a little bit later, so with your direction, we can look to, put out an opening for an assistant director and see what type of applicants we get.
Yeah, and it's not just like the succession planning also, but like,
Well, totally.
he needs,
Yeah.
we need to have two, so
That's
we're not
correct.
having one person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, if
From
Margarito,
at 10 o'clock at night, and on a
There's-
Saturday
that's
morning,
right.
and Sunday morning, and
if something happened where he couldn't
So-
drain those pipes for those chillers and we got that cold spell, we'd have lost 2 chillers.
yeah,
And that's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Yes.
So,
yeah, so we need 2 employees, just for the fact of we need 2
Well,
people
him
to
and
be
somebody
doing
else.
that work,
Yeah,
and also learning all the things he
Yeah.
does, so.
and that person will also do lots of other things too.
Of course.
Margarito manages the janitorial staff still,
Absolutely. Yes.
so that person would be involved with all that also, so.
Yeah, I think that's the path we need to go down.
Okay.
If I need to be the first one to say.
We'll work
I
on that.
think we've all said it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've all said it, okay, great,
I got your direction.
So-
Thank you.
thanks.
Now for science.
I guess with that, are we at risk anywhere else?
Well, we don't think so, I mean.
As far as we know, no.
We used to be transportation,
transportation's
sold itself. Results report, we're back to that, science and social studies. Who's gonna present on that?
I don't have any results for science and social studies because that's not tested in my building, so Mr. Ball, you're up.
Get the name, so
Thank you, Darla.
that's gone.
I don't know if any of you guys have this issue at all. Can we scroll back to that top slide, because my eyes are so bad now that I can
Oh,
barely,
yeah.
just thank you very much.
Can we zoom
Christie
in?
can use it
Yeah.
in some.
Slide number 3 for me, where it says science assessment. So, or social studies assessment. So, we do our social studies assessment locally. There's not a state mandate for data that like we've talked about with English and reading, writing, math, those types of scores. So we do ours locally, and right now, they actually spent time today grading theirs, and it's more of an essay form where our entire department grades specific assessments that they have put in their department, so they're grading those right now. So there's no data to collect in terms of scores that you report to the state, social studies wise. And it's not something that gets tracked or publicized or anything like that. It's strictly localized based, and each district decides if they wanna do it or not, regardless of.
Is this the first year you've done this, or is it been done?
No,
Yeah. And so we do that at fourth grade, Matt does it at, I'm not sure what grade in his building.
Seven.
So we all do that, but it's just not like a state standardized test.
Yeah.
So, just the science one, I don't wanna, I guess I'll reread what I put on there, but students who participated in revised and expanded grade 11 science assessment in spring of 2025, the results of this assessment did not provide the range of scores that the state was looking for. Because of this fact, students did not receive an individual score. That's not just for Burlington, that is for the entire state. So, that,
No data.
so yes, no data.
Thank you very much.
No data because the scores were so broad that they didn't give enough information to present on that, so it's not a Burlington thing.
So, sounds like a good test.
Yeah, so.
You have to go ahead and pull,
Like an inconclusive test. Did you ever did bell-shaped
that's
curve?
middle school.
That one last year. Right, last year's test.
So if you wanna go down one slide right here, so right here where it says ACT report, the 5-year trends. So if you look at the STEM one, science, technology, engineering, math, so it's a wide range of different measurements. But the ones it's focusing on here are science and math, and then it shows down here in bold what our district did and what the state was. So these reports have to do with how our students perform on those particular questions on the ACT. So if you see a 28.5, that doesn't mean our students had a 28.5 on their ACT. That means that in this particular area on math that was related to a STEM benchmark is where our students performed in that particular area for science and math and those related questions. So just a little area right there, it said BHS class of 2025 scored above the state average. Clearly the scores, both composite and science, vary from year to year, and then the state average less variance due to their sustainable larger sample size. So sorry, I had to get up there, I just can't read it anymore.
The one thing I noticed on there is last year, on the average STEM score, we were well below the state average, but it looks like we bounced back up,
Yes,
which would imply it's kind of an anomaly. I mean, it
It's-
happens,
it's,
so
yeah.
that's good. What I was really not wanting to see was another year where we were well
Right.
below, and then we maybe had the beginning of a trend, so.
If we had a second year where that was trending, then we would really have to start looking at the type of electives that we're teaching in our classes that have to do with our STEM-related test scores. So year to year, hopefully that's more of an indication that it was a one-year anomaly versus a concerning trend.
Looking at this, to me, it looks like we're right around average
Yes.
with the state.
Correct.
Just
So-
Very much.
Sometimes just above, sometimes just below, but right around.
Very, very accurate.
Okay, anybody have any more questions for Lee? And Garland and answering.
I'll move to accept the results of our report concerning science and social studies as reasonable interpretation of the education of all schools.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, submit your vote.
Slowing down, not registering your vote. There we go.
Motion carries 7-0. Negotiation?
And we won't have anything for negotiations this month, but most likely next month you will spend some time to talk about negotiations in executive session.
About 2027 calendar.
Yeah, the calendar. So what we did, we put out a draft, sent it out to all buildings. I collected responses, information from the public, from the staff. And then we got together as an administrative group and we looked at the ones, the suggestions, recommendations, the ones that made the most sense to be able to try to implement. And that's the draft 2, which you see right there presented. So barring anything from the state that says we gotta start school after Labor Day and end before Memorial Day, this is a proposed draft calendar for the next school year, and believe it or not, we do have people asking, what does your calendar look like for next year, because they're planning summer vacations, that type of thing. So, having said that, we did collect input from our staff, we put together our administrative team, to discuss, and, this is what we come up with.
Any major changes on it from how we've done it in the past? I know last year we got some interesting feedback from some people that we had to take into consideration.
Every year I always get feedback, at least just to listen. And sometimes some feedback it makes sense. And we look at it as administrators and we say, that, something that we can do. Like I mentioned to our staff, I can't do everything that you guys want me to do. So, but we can look at some things that do make sense.
I mean, we went through all three buildings' feedback lists.
Everything.
Every one of them.
Okay.
But as far as major changes, I don't remember anything that was significantly different.
Okay, that's all I was asking, was any of the pieces of feedback that we gave a day off where we didn't have it in the past or
Should
anything?
September 30th be read, the box
Let me check and see.
for conferences, or am I wrong there?
No, we didn't put that down because it's an evening. We put it down for October 2 because it's a full day off. Good question, good point. And that's the same thing in February. Same thing on the 17th. We didn't put it down, but we noted it. 19th is a full day off of school because it's a full day of conference. Full day off for students. Yeah. And again, remember, we do this pending ratification and or contract. The only reason we do that is because we could potentially ask for additional hours and amounts of work that could change the calendar. BUTA could ask for additional hours and amounts of work that could change the calendar. So really, that's the only reason we put down for pending ratification.
I'll hold my breath.
Last year we did like some preemptive declaration snow days or something. Yeah, we did there. So that was complicated. It's just really to meet kind of something all the other districts have done. Do we do that now or? Okay.
We'll do it in July.
Yes, we can do it in July.
Yep.
Good question.
Do you have a prepared no school till after Labor Day and
No, we do not.
This is to start the process over, right? If that happens, we're just gonna start over again.
If that happens.
So much for 2 weeks off for Christmas and kind of stuff.
Oh, very much so. It will change your breaks, it will possibly change spring break. Yeah, so that, we would be back to the drawing board with the administrative team coming up with a potential schedule, a potential calendar, yes.
Should we invite state legislators to this meeting and they can give us feedback on it?
That would change negotiations too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, it could, it all depends on if you change the number of days.
Okay.
And it could, like I say, it could be hours and amounts of work in a day too, so we're gonna hope that the legislature comes to their senses and allows us to put together a calendar that makes sense for us.
Yeah.
And all the other 286 school districts in the state as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you,
Yes.
if we had to take that second yellow week in December and turn those gray, I'm sure that we'd have a lot of feedback.
I would imagine the legislators would as well, they should.
Oh,
Hopefully they remember they're up for reelection.
I'll move to approve the 2026-2027 calendar draft number 2, subject to final ratification of the employment contract with you.
Second.
Motion second.
Isn't that
Discussion.
everywhere?
Oh, we came in time.
Good job.
It was literally.
Isn't it there when somebody's
Motion second, any discussion? No? Vote, submit your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Contract one, we have approval for the BMS plasma cutter.
VHS.
I'm sorry, VHS plasma cutter bid.
Yes. So we did receive one sealed bid on that, so again,
Get what we get.
yeah, recommend.
Move to accept Kevin Duffy's bid of $776 for the VHS plasma cutter.
Second. Motion second, discussion. Submit your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Personnel executive session.
I don't have a need unless you all have a need.
student issues,
No.
executive session, nobody? Closing items, miss anything? Debrief. Carter, thanks for giving us a heads up on the 21st century.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, I mean, good, bad, or different, I think this board and the community will continue to make it happen. And if the federal funds or whatever don't come through, I think you can, I don't wanna speak fair play, but I think we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like I said, I'm an advocate, I'm
Yeah.
That don't mean you can't stop around.
And maybe it's a blessing in disguise to get rid of all the rules to follow and.
I mean, there would be good and bad.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll just say, I heard you say it tonight, I heard you say it the other night, I heard, the OPA director say it too. Don't think that you're wasting our time when you come in here. I mean, you've all said like, I know I'm taking a lot of your time.
I wanna hear it.
I wanna hear it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I just said tongue.
Except for the other night,
If
you told me, that was a lot.
yeah,
I'm sitting out all night, we get paid by the hour.
I just,
Chop, chop.
I'm just kidding.
I know, I know.
like I said, I wanna hear what you guys have to say. If that means I'm here at 10 o'clock, I'm here at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, let's get the business done.
I understand.
Okay,
Tongue in cheek.
Okay.
Anybody have anything else? Great discussions, great board input, too, so I appreciate it. We stand adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey Darla, I noticed you only swatted the hat while it was your turn to talk.
Yeah.
You only swatted the hat when it was your turn to talk.
Hey,